Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley with Haley Stitches, and today you are watching my 5th floss tube. I can't believe it's already been 5 floss tubes. That is really wild, but I'm so happy that you're here watching me today. I am excited to keep doing these and showing you all what I've been working on. Before we jump into my stitching today, I need to show you a project bag that was sent to me by Tammy from Creative Country Girl. She reached out and sent this to me. I'm so excited to start using it. So this is what the project bag looks like. I feel like it is the perfect one for me. I was just so happy when I saw the fabric choices for this. So the bottom fabric is kind of a red and white polka dot. It kind of gives me like Minnie Mouse vibes. And then this is actually the front here, and it has the little rickrack here. And then the, of course, sewing notion fabric on top. I am obsessed with tomato pincushions. I just love them. I feel like you could show anybody in the world a picture of this and they'll know exactly what it is, even if they do not sew. So this is just so cute. I have used it already with a project that I finished that I'll be showing you all at the end today. So I just need to, kit up my next work in progress, and then I can keep using it. Thank you so much, Tammy. I really appreciate it. And for everybody watching, I linked Tammy's information down below so you can see what they are up to. They also have a FLOSSTUBE channel, so head over there to see the fun things that they are showing off. My first project today that I wanted to show you guys is the large colorful quilt pattern by WIPS. This is what I have done so far. So this is a quilt inspired pattern. They are a bunch of quilt blocks that are all put together, and they have such really bright and vibrant colors. I love it. Let me put a picture of the finished project right here. So as you can see, I have 2 of the blocks finished. I really like how each block is kind of like a mini project on its own. It's really satisfying to finish the block. I finished this one last night. So it's super detailed, and this is the most different colors I've used for a project so far. And I've really been enjoying the dimension that the slight different hues, like of the blues and the reds, it gives the project a lot of dimension. So I'm really enjoying that. I was worried it was gonna be a little bit too overwhelming because I'm still a beginner, but I really am enjoying it a lot. So I'm stitching this on an 18 count white Aida, and I'm using the called for DMC. And as always, I link everything below. So if you're inspired by anything I'm working on, want to check it out for yourself, feel free to check out the description. This project is going to be quite big when it's finished, so I do expect this one to be with me kind of for the long haul. I think this one will be in my floss tubes for quite a while, but finished, it's about, I think it's like 19 by 21 or something like that. So I will have to get a pretty big frame for it, and I'm not quite sure where it's gonna go in my home yet. But that's okay because I just really am loving how it's turning out so far. Each block is so different that it almost feels like a different project as I'm working on it. So it's definitely fun and interesting to stitch on, and I don't think I'm gonna get sick of it at all, no matter how long it takes me. Each block, I've kind of been finishing a block maybe every 2 weeks. So I'm kind of thinking that for each floss tube episode, I'll have a new block finished that you guys will be able to see until I have them all done. The next project I'm working on is called Serendipity, and this is from the Fat Quarter Shop. Serendipity is their charity quilt and stitch along this year. The charity that they're raising money for is Make-A-Wish, South and Central Texas. So the pattern is actually free on their blog. However, they suggest a $15 donation to use the pattern. So the second row, release number 2, came out April 1st, and it is just a bunch of flying geese. This stitched up really, really quickly. It was really fun. I loved the little triangles and the color changes. So this is turning out so nice. I'm really, really enjoying the dark Aida background. As you guys know, I've stitched a lot on white Aida, so the navy has been a fun change of pace for me. It has been a little bit challenging stitching on such a dark cloth, but I think I'm getting used to it, and it's kind of like I have to relearn kind of each week. The releases come out, I think, twice a month, so it's not too much at all. You can definitely stay caught up, and the project itself is pretty small. I think it finishes to like 7 1/4 by 8 1/4, so you know, it's pretty manageable. This has been a fun sort of palette cleanser in between my bigger projects that I've been working on, and like I said, I'm just really enjoying how it's turning out. There's definitely still time to join if you guys see this and are interested. So check out, you know, the Fat Quarter Shop blog, and they'll give you all the information for what you need. I am stitching this on a 14 count navy Aida, and I'm using the called for DMC. I just purchased the thread pack that's available on their website. So I am really excited for the next releases to come out. I am also doing the quilt along version of this. So I have not quilted the second release yet, the Flying Geese, but I hope to do that soon so that I'll stay caught up with that one as well. I've seen some super fun versions of this piece on Instagram. I think the hashtag is Serendipity SAL, meaning stitch along, and you can just type that in to Instagram and you'll be able to see everyone else's versions of it. I think it's so fun to see stitch alongs and follow along and see everybody's kind of unique take on it. Choosing the floss colors has been a little bit intimidating, so I've been hesitant to kind of make substitutions and make my own color choices for projects. I don't think I have a great eye for color. When I'm looking up color palettes, what I do is I will look up like color palettes on Pinterest. I just type in color palettes and a bunch of stuff will come up. And that's usually how I draw my inspiration for choosing colors for quilts and cross stitch patterns. I know as I cross stitch more, I'll probably have more favorite like DMC colors that I use all the time. It is pretty overwhelming with the amount of choices that DMC offers. Using fabric, for example, like if you look at Moda Bella Solids, they have tons and tons of choices, but then if you look at like Art Gallery Fabrics Pure Solids, they have a lot fewer choices. So it makes it a little bit easier to choose, if you understand what I'm saying, because there's not so many variants of green, for example. There's just like 2 or 3, but if you look at, you know, Moda Bella Solids, there's like a million greens you can choose from. So I do find when I have almost unlimited choices, it's really difficult for me to make a choice, versus if I have like 3 or 5 choices, it's definitely a lot easier to make a choice. I'm sure you guys understand what I'm saying and feel the same way. I'm working on designing a couple patterns myself, so yeah, the color choices has really just been, I don't know, overwhelming, I guess. And the last project that I am working on is this. I have like such a small start. I just finished it, or I just started it at like 8 p.m. last night. So what this project will be, that you definitely cannot tell right now, is part of StitchesLoversShop National Park series. So I bought this pattern on Etsy, and it's actually 11 patterns in like one PDF. So it's just a bunch of different national parks in the United States. So what this one will be is Arches National Park, I believe. The national parks aren't actually labeled in the pattern from what I could see so far. So I was just kind of Googling the patterns or the parks that were listed in the description of the pattern. And I do think this one is Arches National Park because it is gonna have like a rock formation that is an arch. So These will finish, I think, in an 8-inch hoop. But I'm not stitching this one in a hoop. I'm actually stitching this one in hand. I have been using my hoop stand that I got from Michael's and hoops to stitch every single project. I've been getting really used to it and I enjoy how fast it goes, but I don't want to lose the skills of using the sewing method or stitching in hand. So I am definitely gonna use the sewing method for these projects. I find it easier to do that when the project is smaller. I haven't cut this yet, but I will cut it to size. It's just that some of the other projects that I've been working on have been a little bit bigger, so it's been more difficult to like stitch in hand, I find, when there's a bunch of extra fabric. I'd rather just throw it in a hoop in my stand, and then it's a lot easier for me to stitch with two hands, I guess. I don't enjoy stitching in a hoop and having to go to the front and the back and the front and the back. Just doesn't seem very efficient. So if I'm going to have a project in a hoop, then I am using my hoop stand so that I can just, for the front, use one hand to go in, and then in the back I'm using my other hand to pull out. Like this is kind of what I'm doing. And I know it varies person to person what your preference is, but I find stitching two-handed or stitching in hand are the fastest ways. Stitching in a hoop, you know, it just takes more time. The national parks are going to be a really fun one to finish. They are full coverage and they finish in a circle, so I'm pretty excited to see how these turn out. I think that it's going to be really fun and add a lot more color to my space, which I'm always looking for. Next, I have a finished object. You guys did not see this last time. You have not seen it before. This is actually a pattern that I designed. So I did purchase WinStitch and I've been kind of playing around in there, trying to figure out how to use all the features. It can be a pretty complex software, so that's been a really big kind of learning curve that I have not enjoyed, but I know it's gonna get easier the more and more that I use it. So this is really, it's so basic. It's just basic shapes, kind of in a modern vibe. I've been seeing these kind of shapes everywhere really recently. They seem to be really popular. So I just kind of did my own take on that. And I did do it in a circle pattern. It's meant to be finished in a hoop. This is an 8-inch hoop, but I might actually finish it in a 7-inch. I'm not sure if I like the amount of white space on the outside. The reason why I do like that amount of white space on the outside is because it's easy to stitch the whole thing in the hoop. You don't have to really adjust it or anything when you get close to the edges. So I did like that part about it. But yeah, super basic. The reason why I created this pattern is because I'm going to be filming a beginner tutorial for YouTube, and I originally was gonna use a free DMC pattern, but then I got worried about copywriting and all that. I didn't want to film another person's pattern, even though the pattern's technically free, but it's not owned by me and I did not get explicit permission from DMC to use their pattern. So I just went ahead and came up with something on my own. I feel like that is a better route, so I don't have to worry about any of those things. So this is what that pattern will be. You saw it here first. But yeah, my plan for that is just to walk through cross-stitching from beginning to end. And it'll just be all the bare minimum basics that you need to know in order to cross-stitch. And it is gonna be a long form video because I did not see a lot of long form videos that take you through the whole pattern. Probably for the reason that I said earlier, and because it's, time consuming to film. I think that this probably took me, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours maybe to stitch. I wasn't totally focused the whole time that I was stitching it. But if I was really focused in like a setting where maybe I'm filming it, then I think I could probably get it done in 4 hours. But yeah, that's gonna be kind of a beast of a video to make, but it'll be worth it in the end, and I think it'll help a lot of people. My goal was just to create something that I wish existed when I was learning, so I'm hoping that other people find that helpful. I know that that video will probably not be relevant to most of you who are watching here, but I'm hoping it will help out some of the newer creators in the space and get people's feet wet with cross stitch in a really easy to digest way. So that is that one. I just finished it really, like that is not beautiful at all, this little thing. I'm probably just gonna buy a little piece of felt and then stitch over it, so I don't have to worry about that. That does not look very nice, but it works from the front. It looks nice, it looks good. So that was what I really spent the majority of the last week working on, was a pattern for this and then actually stitching the pattern. I did create another pattern before I made this one, and that one is like an office scene kind of. So I was really inspired by my own space and what I hope my space can look like someday. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to stitch that pattern pretty soon and show you all that one. Like I said, I don't really have like an intent on selling these patterns. The beginner series one was just gonna be free on my blog so that people can follow along and learn. And then the office pattern was really just for me because I really liked it. But yeah, maybe, I mean, once you already make the pattern in mid-stitch, it's pretty easy to export into like a downloadable PDF. So it really wouldn't be that challenging to turn it actually into a pattern. But you know, maybe I'll do that, maybe I won't. I haven't really decided on that yet. So I know today's video was not very long at all. I just wanted to check in and give you all kind of an update with where I'm at with my projects. I don't really have much else to say. I know next time I will kind of talk about my plans for Stitch Mania. I just recently watched Lindy Stitch's Flosstube, and she was talking about Stitch Sania, which I thought was a kind of a fun idea, and I'm probably gonna do something in between. Maybe I'll start a new project each week or something like that. My last Flosstube, I showed you all a pattern haul, so I do have some patterns on deck, and I think I'm gonna do a new pattern every week. That seems like something that I'll be able to manage. So I am really excited about that. I'd love to hear what you guys are planning on doing for Stitch Mania, and if you have any plans for that yet, or maybe what patterns you are hoping to start. I still have a little bit of room for some new patterns for May. So yeah, let me know and I'll take a look and see if it's something that I want to stitch. Before we end, I just wanted to give you all such a heartfelt thank you for supporting me and subscribing. It has been so fun to be here on YouTube and chat with you all about cross stitch. I don't have a lot of people in my real life that are interested in my crafting the same way that you all are, so it's been really, really fun to get to know you guys and start to build this baby community online. I just reached 400 subscribers today, and that just made me so happy to think that there's 400 people who are interested in the things that I'm working on. That's just really shocking. But if you guys are interested in what I'm working on in between my bi-weekly Flosstube videos, you can follow me on Instagram. My handle is @HaleyStitches. I am working on getting my blog put together, so keep an eye out for that. If you want to get in touch with me, feel free to DM me on Instagram, or you can email me. My email is listed below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more just like it, please subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Bye!